Hey, it's Mike Zschunke, Berkshire Hathaway Homes and Shipping Properties, on our way to Paradise Valley again. Friday morning market chat. We're going to talk about residential, we're going to talk about commercial, we're going to talk about the economy. And then there's been some shakeup in the industry, the real estate industry this week that we'll talk about if we still have time. You know, I try to keep these down to 10, 15 minutes. But first, residential inventory locally in Scottsdale, we're up again. It's 3 out of the past 4 weeks have been an increase in single-family detached homes, which is good because we were getting pretty low again there for a while, and we're starting to see some transactions, like I've been saying the past couple weeks. There's, talking to other agents and brokers, things are happening. It's starting to pick up again as we head into the cooler months here in Scottsdale. But this week we had new home sales up. New home sales, brand new home sales was up 20% for August. Existing home sales was down 0.2%. Now remember, those are nationwide numbers. And each little community has its own little environment. But what was interesting was that those were much better than expected. People are coming off the fence. Interest rates are what they are. If you've got to buy or sell, you've got to buy or sell. Life happens. So there kind of really are. People are coming off the fence, and you've really got to look at your deal if your deal happens. Whatever makes sense for you, I guess I should say. But we trace, remember, I always say statistics tell us to where we've been, not where we're going. Those are from August numbers. We track those numbers weekly, and we've seen this week another increase. Scottsdale up another 20 single-family detached homes for sale. Prices in Scottsdale and surrounding area, Cave Creek, Fountain Hills, even North Phoenix, I'll mention that in a second. But prices starting to creep up again. But what I did notice was that the gap between asking price and sales price is starting to come together. We were seeing some good deals happen there for a while, and we're still seeing actually some properties come on market. There are some pretty decent deals. Ancala has a couple of them right now. Country Club I always mention over there. But that gap between asking price and sold price, that's starting to creep together. It's about 97% right now, whereas a few months ago it was about 94%. So, and remember, asking price is just an asking price. Let's figure out what the house is worth, whether you're buying and selling, and that's where we start our negotiations. Actually, we just had a closed one last night in North Phoenix. $25 a square foot. I'm going to do a post later about the details. $25 a square foot over the most recent sale in that neighborhood of about 250 homes, and $100,000 more than the exact same house sold for earlier this year. Now, I'm going to say that transaction happened because of me, without boasting, but I really dug down on the numbers. I met with the appraiser and showed him why that side of the house, I was a little nervous it wasn't going to appraise, but that side of the road got $100,000 more than the other side. So, I was pretty good. We got a great number for that house, and that's just part of being with the Berkshire Hathaway network. Took a lot of phone calls, and we had to work on that one, but we got it done. Closed at 5 o'clock last night, which another thing is funny. 6 weeks of escrow on that property, and it always comes down to last minute. Never fails. There's always a signature somewhere, or somebody didn't do their job. And it's my job as your, team leader, as your advisor, to pull that team together and kind of coach everybody through the transaction. But one more thing, please pay attention to your parents, your elderly neighbor, your elderly friends, to their real estate. I talked about it before, but one real close to us, I didn't take the listing because they wanted too much money at $1.3 million. Somebody else listed it at $1.3 million. It was worth about $1.1. An investor just came in and paid him $890,000. And, people don't realize these in Arizona, the realtor, the real estate agent, or the broker writes the contract. On the residential side, we don't use attorneys, and those are legal documents. People don't realize that. They sign away, and pretty interesting. But anyway, commercial's got, I think there's a lot of opportunity coming in commercial. But remember, I say commercial is financed short term, 3, 5, 10 years. So a lot of those deals that were bought in 21, 22, those are going to start coming up again. We got Metro Center Mall. They demolished it, and they're finally moving forward with developing that. They're going to put 1,100 townhomes there and some mixed-use area. Where am I going here? I missed the turn.
No left turn.
We're live. No left turn, missed a turn. That's why we're live. But maybe I should pay attention. I'm going to pull over here real quick. Anyway, Metro Center is going. There was 2 big state land auctions this week. Desert Ridge, all the big boys came out for that. Toll Brothers, all the big developers, they're going to apply for high-density single-family homes on 56th Street and Desert Ridge. So that north area of 101, I always say, Lennar was there, Pulte, and I want to mention real quick, there's some big lawsuits against Lennar and Pulte that are starting to pop up against shoddy construction. And I always say, don't buy a house that was built in 2007. Be careful if you're buying a house now, a brand new house with one of the national developers. We see some garbage out there, but there's some lawsuits starting to pop up on their quality of construction. You know, I'm all for buying an existing home. It's proven that it's going to be standing there in a few years. But yeah, strip centers are super hot. Now, remember, as Amazon was coming on and more online shopping, people thought we're going to move away from local mom and pop. So developers were developing commercial or industrial property, and they were ignoring the strip malls and the small shopping centers. Well, now retail sales had an increase this year of 3%. So starting to see that we need more strip malls. So those prices, it goes back to supply and demand. If you don't have enough shopping centers and people are opening businesses, SBA 8 loans are great now. But so you'll see the value of those go up, those shopping centers. And there's a lot of private equity money is jumping all over them. So I think those are a great opportunity. Storage units, there's some properties we're looking up here. Actually, had a busy week looking at learning about chicken egg laying operations. Super interesting. And that's what I like to do. You know, let's sit down, find out what you want to do. Let's find the right spot for your business. So that's what I do on the commercial side. So that's been a lot of fun, and I always say own the real estate. So anyway, makes sense to me. But anyway, on the economy side, we had PCE this morning. Personal consumption expenditures up a little bit as expected. 2.7%, I believe, was the core number. But as Linda Mashburn, she's an economist, she said, you know, we're seeing steady, slow, healthy growth. That's what we want in an economy. Jerome Powell spoke the other day, and he was talking about he has 2 jobs. He says it's been challenging. I wouldn't want his job right now. His job is to have stable employment and stable prices. PCE, we still have some risk of inflation out there. I don't see any need for the Fed to cut rates, but that's just me. It's my opinion. You can make a case for either way. And remember, the Fed rate cut is not your mortgage rate. That's an overnight lending rate. I say that every week, but I can't say that enough, actually. But we're in kind of an unprecedented times coming out of the pandemic, where that's where I wanted to go. Monetary policy versus fiscal policy. The Fed controls the money supply in the country. The U.S. Treasury controls the government spending. And now Monday or Tuesday, we're heading into another possible government shutdown. So until we get that government spending under control, you know, people are going to keep spending, and that's kind of where the economy. But overall, the economy is good. Ken Griffin was on. He's a Citadel investor guy, which he loves real estate for his private. He buys up everything in Florida and builds his gigantic properties. But he says we're seeing decent company earnings. Companies are not firing people, but they're not hiring, but they're not firing. So we are having this good steady increase. Yes, prices are expensive, but the economy is pretty good overall. As long as everybody's got a job and companies are having decent earnings, the economy's pretty good. And we see that all goes over to real estate. So, you know, it's all just noise. I've said that a million times. It's all just noise. Pay attention to what works for you, what you're doing. And, you know, people talk about the stock market. Stock market's not the economy. In fact, the Magnificent Seven you may have heard of, that accounts for over 50% of the S&P now. So If they're having good years, the S&P is going to have good years. But anyway, the economy's good. That's all noise. You know, if you want to buy, buy. If you want to sell, sell. And real quick, I just want to mention real estate industry. I had some shakeup. Compass. Most people don't know how the industry works. I'm an independent contractor. Most agents and brokers are independent contractors, and we pay a franchise fee to the big franchises. So Compass purchased Sotheby's, Anywhere Real Estate, which Anywhere Real Estate is a holding company. They own Coldwell Bankers, Sotheby's, Corcoran Group. They own a bunch of different groups that you've heard of. And as agents, we can choose to work with any of those. So at some point, what's his name? Sarant, the HGTV guy, Sarant said, at what point do corporate objectives overwhelm customer service, and what's good for the client? So, and that's kind of where, that's where I'm super happy with Berkshire Hathaway. I pay them a hefty franchise fee, but, we all, no matter what broker with, we all have the same tools to get your house out there. This is a relationship business. We're not building widgets or cars or pens or something like that. This is a relationship business. And as my friend Frank, I think, was the first one when I first got in the business, said it to me, it's a service business. We don't sell anything. We're here to provide a service, use our experience to help you get you where you want to be. And actually, my friend Peter said it yesterday too. So, the good agents, it's not all about selling. It's what do you want? Where do you want to go? Do you want to buy? Do you want to sell? And how can we help you get there? So, when you pick up the phone and call me, you get me. And I'll hold your hand the whole way through. So, I don't know, with these big consolidations, are we going to lose some of that service business in the industry? I don't know. But anyway, that's why I do these live, so you get to know me, I get to know you. Let's have a conversation. Pick up the phone, let's talk, and so anyway, I've got to run. We're running into Paradise Valley here. I'll post some pictures and then some paperwork later, and we'll talk to you later. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Have a great weekend. Be smart, be safe, and we'll talk to you soon. Thanks.